It began with a silent scan beneath one of the holiest sites on Earth, and what scientists saw left them frozen in disbelief. Beneath the golden dome of the rock, hidden chambers, ancient voids, and forgotten layers are starting to reveal themselves after centuries of secrecy. This isn't just another discovery, it's something that could rewrite history, faith, and humanity's understanding of the divine itself. But what exactly did they find beneath the sacred stone? Stay with us to know. More than stones and religion. For centuries, the Dome of the Rock has stood as one of the most sacred and mysterious places on Earth. Rising above the ancient city of Jerusalem, its golden dome glows in the sunlight, watched by millions from different faiths. To Muslims, it marks the spot where the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have ascended to heaven during the Mi'raj. To Jews, it is the site of the foundation stone, the very rock from which the world was created and where Abraham prepared to sacrifice his son. Christians, too, see it as part of their holy geography, deeply tied to the biblical city where their faith began. Few places on the planet carry such weight, uniting and dividing humanity all at once. But the Dome of the Rock is far more than a monument of faith. It is a living archive of history, power, and mystery. Every layer of its architecture tells a story. The geometric mosaics, the Arabic calligraphy, and the patterns carved into marble all speak of rulers who sought to leave their mark upon it. The Umayyad caliphs built it to show the strength of Islam. Centuries later, the Ottomans restored it to renew their spiritual authority. Each repair, each inscription, and every restoration project reflects the ambitions of empires and the beliefs of millions. The dome is not just a building, it is a statement carved in stone. Over time, it has also become a battlefield of ideas. Beneath its beauty lies tension between religions, between nations, and between truth and myth. Archaeologists and historians agree that whatever is hidden beneath its foundation could reshape how we understand the world's oldest faiths. The very ground beneath the dome has remained off-limits for centuries. No one truly knows what lies underneath. Ancient temples, forgotten relics, or sealed chambers that could reveal secrets buried for millennia. What's found, or never found, has the power to change how people see history itself. Now, with the rise of modern technology, the impossible is becoming possible. Scientists are using tools to look beneath the dome without disturbing its sacred soil. Yet, with each discovery comes new questions. Will what they find unite faiths or divide them even further? So let's explore the first astonishing findings, the hidden mosaics and lost layers that hint at forgotten histories waiting to be revealed. The hidden layers. During a recent restoration inside the Dome of the Rock, something remarkable happened. Something no one expected. Workers carefully lifted the carpets that had covered the floors for decades, only to find colorful patterns shimmering beneath the dust. Hidden mosaics preserved through time began to reappear. These weren't just decorations, they were fragments of history whispering from a forgotten age. Each small tile, each geometric curve told a story of faith, empire, and power layered one atop another. Archaeologists believe some of these uncovered designs may date back to the Byzantine era, long before the dome itself was built in the 7th century. Their style, crosses, vine patterns, and bright blues reflects the Christian art of that time. But above those Byzantine works are Umayyad mosaics, marked by their intricate geometry and Arabic calligraphy, symbols of Islam's early rise. The contrast between the two styles captures a silent handover of sacred space, from one faith to another, from empire to empire. It shows how history doesn't always erase the past. Sometimes it simply builds upon it. What fascinates researchers is what these layers reveal about the people who built them. The Umayyads could have destroyed every trace of what came before, but instead, they built over it, blending old and new. This suggests a more complex story, one of transition rather than total replacement. It was not just architecture changing, it was belief, identity, and authority transforming stone by stone. Each restoration, from the Crusaders to the Ottomans, added its own chapter. Over centuries, art became a record of power, faith, and ambition hidden in plain sight. These discoveries are more than beautiful remnants. They are clues that challenge long-held timelines. If Byzantine works survived beneath Islamic layers, it suggests there may have been an earlier structure on the same foundation, perhaps even a Christian shrine. Historians now question what truly stood here before the Golden Dome rose. Were these patterns intentionally covered or simply forgotten beneath centuries of repair and renewal? If these physical layers can hide whole mosaics, imagine what secrets might rest within the dark voids and ancient caves beneath. Let's take you under the very heart of the dome, to the mysterious space known as the Well of Souls. Into the Well of Souls. Beneath the Golden Dome sits a single ancient slab of rock that has drawn prayers, stories, and questions for thousands of years. This is the foundation stone. For Jews, it is the center of the world, the place where creation began, and where the inner sanctum of the ancient temple once stood. For Muslims, it is the noble rock, tied to the Prophet Muhammad's night journey and ascent to heaven. Christians also read it into their sacred geography. In short, this one rock carries the weight of 3 religions and the weight of history itself. Look closely, and the stone is not just a natural outcrop. Parts of it are cut flat and shaped in ways that suggest human hands worked it long ago. Archaeologist Lean Rittmeyer points to rectangular cuttings on the stone and argues that one flat section matches the width described for the Holy of Holies in ancient texts. His view is striking because it links the visible surface of the rock to the detailed measures of the temple that dominated the religious life of Jerusalem for centuries. Yet this claim sits inside a careful debate. Some scholars find the alignment persuasive, while others urge caution, noting that the evidence is suggestive rather than conclusive. Down under the stone is another world. A narrow set of worn steps leads into a low chamber called the Well of Souls. The room is roughly the size of a small living room. It is partly natural and partly finished by people who long ago paved its floor and added prayer niches. At the center of its ceiling is a round shaft less than half a meter wide that climbs up to the floor above. Some say the shaft was part of an ancient tomb or a drainage system. Others think it may be a Crusader era cut made for candles and air. The echoes and the niches gave rise to stories that the souls of the dead can be heard here, a legend that shaped how people worshipped and thought about the rock for generations. The mix of carved rock, the shaft, and the chamber below raises a simple, electrifying question. Were these cuts made for ritual reasons, for architecture, or to hide and protect something valuable beneath? Could there be a sealed shaft or vault just below the carved lines that Rittmeyer identified? National Geographic warns us to balance wonder with caution. The evidence is rich and intriguing, but it is not yet proof of any dramatic claim. Still, the idea of a hidden chamber beneath such a loaded and famous stone is hard to set aside. But the Well of Souls is only one piece of the puzzle. Caves and chambers sit alongside tunnels and passageways. Next, we move out from the heart of the rock to the hidden corridors that may connect everything beneath the mount. Forgotten tunnels, passageways, and the unseen network. For centuries, stories have whispered about tunnels beneath Jerusalem, dark arteries running under the city's holiest ground. Many dismissed them as legends, but stone by stone, explorers began to prove they were real. Around the Temple Mount, narrow passageways and hidden staircases have been found, some leading to cisterns, others ending in sealed doors. Beneath these ancient stones, history itself seems to breathe. Archaeologists have traced several of these tunnels back to the days of Herod the Great. The most famous, the Western Wall tunnel, runs for hundreds of meters along the base of the Temple Mount, revealing massive foundation stones laid over 2,000 years ago. Other passages remain only in records, tunnels noted by 19th century explorers or local lore, rumored to connect the mount to distant quarters of the Old City. Some may have been used by priests, others by defenders, or by those seeking refuge in times of siege. In recent years, the search has gone high-tech. Using miniature robots, researchers have sent cameras into spaces too tight or dangerous for people to enter. One such expedition revealed an ancient channel beneath the streets of Jerusalem, its direction hinting toward the Temple Mount itself. The footage showed finely cut limestone and tool marks, suggesting intentional construction rather than random geology. Could these tunnels have been part of a forgotten network that once reached beneath the dome of the rock? The mystery deepens because exploration is tightly restricted. Political tension, religious sensitivities, and security concerns mean that large-scale excavations are off-limits. Every meter of ground here is layered with faith and history, and even a small dig can spark global outrage. Yet non-invasive scans and imaging have begun to pick up strange anomalies, unexplained voids, shapes that don't fit the known structures. Some of these lie disturbingly close to the spot directly beneath the dome. If any of these tunnels connect to the Well of Souls or lead under the foundation stone itself, it could change everything we think we know about Jerusalem's Sacred Heart. Hidden vaults or sealed chambers might still lie waiting, untouched for millennia, preserving secrets that neither conquerors nor caretakers have ever reached. But speculation alone won't unlock the truth. So, how can we peer inside the Earth's oldest mysteries without disturbing them? Let's reveals how modern science, through cutting-edge scanning and imaging, has begun to see what no eye has seen in thousands of years. Science that sees the invisible. For generations, archaeologists could only guess what lay beneath the Temple Mount. Now, science has found a way to see the unseen, using advanced imaging tools, muon detection, ground-penetrating radar, and cosmic ray tomography. Researchers can peer through stone without lifting a single rock. These methods have already revealed lost chambers in the Great Pyramid of Giza, and now they're being used in Jerusalem itself. Muon imaging, in particular, sounds like something out of science fiction. Cosmic rays constantly strike Earth, producing subatomic particles called muons. They pass through solid materials, but not evenly. Dense stone slows them, while empty spaces let more through. By placing sensitive detectors underground, scientists can track muon flow and create a 3D picture of what lies above. In the city of David, just south of the Temple Mount, a recent study used this technique to uncover cavities and variations in rock density, possible signs of hidden chambers and ancient tunnels extending toward the sacred plateau. Ground-penetrating radar complements this by sending radio waves into the ground and measuring echoes that bounce back. Differences in time and strength of those reflections reveal changes in material, stone, soil, air, or metal. Combined with 3D laser mapping and magnetometry, it's like giving the Earth an X-ray, and the scans around the mount have shown something remarkable. Anomalies that align suspiciously close to known underground features, yet extend beyond them into unmapped areas. Still, the challenge isn't just scientific, it's political and spiritual. The Dome of the Rock sits at the very heart of global faiths, and even the smallest excavation can spark conflict. That's why these imaging studies are so important. They can explore what human hands cannot safely touch. But even then, every finding must pass through layers of review by religious authorities, government agencies, and international experts. Preliminary imaging suggests that beneath the visible floors and rock layers are unexplained voids, shapes, and densities that don't match natural formations. Are they ancient chambers, collapsed corridors, or something built deliberately and sealed away? No one knows yet, but the scans have reignited age-old questions about what secrets the Mount still hides. If these hollow spaces truly exist, they could hold relics, inscriptions, or even structural evidence from civilizations that shaped Jerusalem's destiny. And that brings us to the heart of the mystery. If science is uncovering traces of lost history, then whose story is buried down there? Untold histories and the silences between eras. History remembers the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE as one of the most defining moments in human faith. When the Romans reduced it to ashes, they didn't just destroy a building, they shattered the spiritual heart of a people. Jerusalem was left broken, its sacred center turned into rubble. The Jewish people were scattered, and the Temple Mount, once filled with prayer, song, and sacrifice, fell silent. But what came next is one of the most puzzling mysteries in archaeology. A silence that lasted nearly 600 years. For centuries after that devastation, history barely whispers about what happened on that hilltop. Ancient Jewish, Christian, and early Muslim writings refer to it only in fragments. A lament here, a rumor there. The silence stretches from the fall of the temple to the sudden rise of the Dome of the Rock in the late 7th century. Historians call it the 600-year gap. a void in the record where one of the most sacred spots on Earth seems to vanish from the story of civilization. What really happened there during those centuries of silence? For a long time, scholars assumed the mount lay in complete ruin, a forsaken wasteland where no one dared to build. Yet recent discoveries suggest otherwise. The Temple Mount Sifting Project, launched to analyze debris from unauthorized excavations, began uncovering clues buried in the dust. Among the rubble, researchers found Byzantine-era coins, pottery, and weights, signs of human presence from the 5th and 6th centuries CE. These small objects challenge the idea of total abandonment. They hint that life continued quietly atop the mount, perhaps in the form of a small Christian chapel, a Roman garrison, or even a hidden place of Jewish prayer kept alive by a few faithful souls who refused to forget. Then came the Umayyads, the first great Islamic dynasty who forever changed Jerusalem's skyline. In the late 7th century, they built the Dome of the Rock, one of the most breathtaking structures in human history. But it was not merely a house of worship. It was a declaration, a statement of faith, legitimacy, and divine connection. Rising above the ruins, its golden dome proclaimed the triumph of Islam. Yet it also acknowledged the ancient holiness of the site. Archaeological evidence shows that the Umayyad builders didn't start from scratch. They reused existing foundations, sealing older walls, passages, and possibly sacred chambers beneath new floors. Whether by design or faith, they literally built upon the memory of the religions that came before. As centuries passed, new empires arrived: Crusaders, Mamluks, Ottomans, each leaving their mark. Some restored what they revered, others erased what they wished forgotten. Every restoration layered new stone over old faith, turning the mount into a living archive of human belief and rivalry. Beneath every block lies another story, another claim to the sacred. If that 6th century silence was not empty, what might still lie preserved beneath the rock? Could hidden chambers hold relics of long-lost worship? Could inscriptions in forgotten languages reveal who prayed there when the world thought it had abandoned? The silence of those centuries may yet speak, and what it says could reshape how we understand faith, history, and the shared destiny of humanity. Let's dive deeper into that possibilities and findings that could change everything.